There are 4 steps that reveal your shadow the exact moment a conflict begins. Most adults miss every single one of them. By the end of this video, you will know how to catch your shadow in real time, not days later in journaling, in the moment itself. This is the work Carl Jung said separates the conscious adult from the reactive child, and almost no one practices it. The shadow is not your enemy. It is the part of you that runs the show when you're not looking. Conflict is where it shows up loudest. Most people only see their shadow in hindsight. They replay an argument and feel ashamed. By then, the shadow has already won. What you are about to learn changes that timing. You will start seeing the shadow as it activates. That single skill changes everything. Carl Jung wrote that the unconscious mind speaks loudest when the ego feels threatened. Conflict is a threat event. That is why it is the perfect doorway. So before we begin the 4 steps, understand this. Your shadow is not bad. It is unintegrated. And integration is the entire goal of this work. Imagine an outlined figure standing calmly. Behind that figure stands a second shadow self with crossed arms, watching every move. That is your inner architecture. Now picture someone walks into the frame. A word is spoken, the shadow self steps forward and speaks for you. You did not choose that. That is the problem. Step 1. Notice the body before the mind. Your shadow announces itself physically before it speaks through your words. Most people try to catch their shadow through thoughts. By then it is too late. The body always knows first. A tightening jaw, a heated face, a pulled stomach, a heartbeat you suddenly notice. These are not random reactions. These are the early warning signals of an old psychological pattern activating. Jung called this an autonomous complex. It moves through the body first. Picture an outlined figure standing in conversation. Suddenly small lines appear around the chest and jaw. That is the shadow rising. The practice is simple but uncomfortable. The next time conflict starts, drop your awareness into your body. Before you speak, before you react, ask yourself one quiet question. Where am I tight right now? That answer is the doorway your shadow has just opened. You are not trying to stop the sensation. You are trying to witness it. Witnessing is the first interruption of unconscious reaction. Most adults skip the step their entire lives. They live from the neck up. The shadow loves that arrangement. It gives the shadow full control. But Jung discovered something even more uncomfortable about this pattern. The body remembers conflicts your mind has forgotten. Old wounds get replayed in new arguments. That tightness in your chest is rarely about the person in front of you. It is about every similar moment your nervous system has stored. So step 1 is somatic. Notice the body. Name the sensation. That alone slows the shadow by several seconds. Those seconds are everything. Step 2. Find the projection inside your reaction. This is where most shadow work begins and where most people get it wrong. Projection is when you place a quality you reject in yourself onto the person you are arguing with. Jung said our reactions reveal more about us than them. Picture 2 outlined figures facing each other. An arrow leaves one figure and lands on the other. That arrow is projection. It carries the disowned self. In conflict, you will hear yourself say things like, "You are controlling, you're selfish, you never listen." Pause there. Those exact words are a map. They point to qualities your psyche has refused to own in itself. The intensity tells you how buried they are. This does not mean the other person is innocent. They may be doing exactly what you say. The point is your reaction size. A neutral observation feels calm. A projection feels electric. If your reaction is disproportionate, your shadow is involved. Always. Comment below with one word that describes what your shadow keeps trying to tell you in conflict. Just one word. Then return to the video. Some of you wrote control. Some wrote abandonment. Some wrote unseen. Each word is a doorway into the part of yourself you have been avoiding. Now back to step 2. In real time, ask yourself this. What am I accusing them of that I refuse to see in myself? This question feels almost unfair when you are angry. That is exactly why it works. The shadow hates being looked at directly. You may discover you are calling them controlling while controlling the entire conversation, or selfish while protecting only your own narrative. This is the mirror. The Jungians called this the mirror moment. The person across from you is not your enemy. They are reflecting what your psyche has hidden from you. Step 3. Identify which inner part has taken over. This is the deepest move in real-time shadow work. Inside you live multiple parts: the wounded child, the protective critic, the angry rebel, the performer, the pleaser. Each has a voice. When conflict starts, one of these parts grabs the wheel. You are no longer driving. A younger or angrier version of you is. Picture an outlined figure standing tall, but inside that figure, a smaller curled child figure is screaming at the same time. Both are present. The shadow is rarely your adult self. The shadow is usually a part of you frozen at the age of an original wound. That part now drives conflict. Jung wrote in his Red Book about exactly this experience. He called it encountering the figures of the unconscious. Each carries its own age and its own pain. In real time, you can feel the age of the part that has taken over. Sometimes you are 7, sometimes 13, sometimes 17. The practice here is to name it silently, to say inside yourself, the 7-year-old is here, the performer is here, the critic is here. Naming creates distance. The moment you can name a part, you are no longer fully merged with it. You are observing it. This is what Jung meant by becoming conscious. Not stopping the part, not silencing it, just seeing it clearly while it is active. If you have ever noticed yourself doing this naming silently in mid-argument, you are not broken. You are encountering the part of yourself Jung called the autonomous complex. That naming alone shifts the energy. Your tone softens, your eyes change. The person across from you often feels the shift before you do. Step 4. Choose one microaction that contradicts the shadow. This is where integration begins in the moment. The shadow has a script. It wants you to attack, or withdraw, or perform, or collapse. Always the same script. A microaction is one small move that breaks the script, not a big move. A small one. Small enough that the shadow does not block it. Picture an outlined figure with chains around the heart. A single chain link cracks open. That is what a microaction does. If your shadow wants to attack, the microaction is one full breath before speaking. That is all. If your shadow wants to withdraw, the microaction is one honest sentence about how you feel, not the long story. One sentence. If your shadow wants to perform, the microaction is admitting one thing you do not know. That breaks the persona instantly. If your shadow wants to collapse, the microaction is staying physically present for 10 more seconds. Eyes up, feet planted. These actions seem small. They are not. Jung said the unconscious changes through small repeated interruptions, not through dramatic willpower. What I'm about to share next is a practice Jung used with his patients that takes only 10 minutes per day. It builds the muscle for real time. Each night, sit quietly. Recall one conflict moment from the day. Walk through the 4 steps in memory: body, projection, part, microaction. You are not fixing the past moment. You are training your awareness to move faster the next time. Repetition rewires the nervous system. Within weeks, something begins to happen. The 4 steps start firing during conflict itself, not after, during. You will notice the body sensation rising. You will catch the projection forming on your tongue. You will name the part inside. You will choose a microaction. This is what individuation looks like in daily life. It is not a mystical event. It is 1,000 small recognitions chosen consciously. Picture an outlined figure standing inside a circle with smaller figures around it. One by one, the smaller figures step inside the larger one. That is integration. You are not becoming someone new. You are becoming someone whole. The parts that ran your conflicts now sit at your table consciously. The common thread across all 4 steps is awareness moving closer to the moment. Body, projection, part, action. Each step shortens the gap. Most adults live with a gap of days between shadow activation and recognition. The work is to bring that gap to seconds, then at instants. When the gap closes completely, conflict stops feeling like an emergency. It starts feeling like information. Important information about you. This is the part most modern therapy never addresses. The unconscious has its own intelligence, and it is not always working for you. But it can't be. When you turn toward it through these 4 steps, the shadow stops sabotaging. It starts informing. Your worst trigger is not your enemy. It is your mirror, and what it reflects is the part of yourself you have buried the deepest. So tonight, before sleep, recall one conflict from this week. Walk through all 4 steps in your mind slowly. Body sensation, projection, inner part, microaction. Do this every night for 7 nights. By the end of the week, the steps will begin appearing in real conflicts on their own. You are not your shadow. You are not your persona. You are the awareness that can hold both. That awareness is your true self. If this work matters to you, subscribe and stay close. The Archetype code is the path of meeting every part of yourself in real time. The next conflict you enter is not a problem. It is a doorway. 4 steps stand between you and the parts of yourself waiting to come home.